Legends, welcome back to another episode of the Ruck Infringement Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Joey, and this is another special Ruck Infringement Podcast interview with the one and only Chris Walker. Chris, how are you, mate?
Thanks very much for having me on. I'm very well, very well.
That's good, mate. It is our pleasure. All right, let's get straight into it. For those that may not know who you are, do you want to tell us a little bit about you and who you played for?
Yeah. My name's Chris Walker, obviously. Grew up in Toowoomba. Had four brothers, or got four brothers. Oh, three brothers, four boys in the family. My two older brothers, Ben and Shane, both played in the NRL for 13, 14 years each. So, and then my younger brother was contracted to the Broncos at a young age, but never went on to play first grade, Luke. But certainly was a talented kid when he played, but just never went on and went out and worked and started his own business. But played for the Broncos, played for South Sydney, played for Roosters, Melbourne, the Gold Coast Titans, and also Parramatta. I think that's basically the clubs that I played for. So, yeah, it was I had a great year, 14, 15 years in the NRL. I've been in the system ever since I was about 14 or 15 at the Broncos. Obviously, having two older brothers, Ben and Shane, at the Broncos, I was sort of destined to follow their footsteps into the NRL.
Yeah, mate. It's a very popular surname in the NRL, as we've seen with Shane and Ben and yourself, and now Sammy Walker, of course, doing well as well. But let's jump into our next question. It's one that I always ask our guests, and it's a bit lighthearted, but who was the funniest teammate that you played with?
Oh, I had a few really, really funny teammates. Eric Grote Jr. was, he's, if you follow him on the Instagram, he's got some pretty good content. But
Yeah,
there's a lot of funny players I play with, a lot of rat bags, a lot of guys that like to, practical joke and pull jokes on you. But I'll have to say Eric Grote Jr. was probably the funniest. So he always made the teammates laugh, and he was good for culture and good for a team. So I'd have to say Guru.
yeah, I love that. That's a great shout. Now, the next question to go with that is, which player had the strangest ritual or superstition, and did you have any of your own?
Yeah, I did. I had really weird superstitions. I'd always tape my football boots in red tape, and
Okay.
I'd always try and be the last out onto the field. That was a big one for me. It's just also just to get a feel for the crowd when the boys ran out first, and then
Yeah.
obviously, go out there and do your thing. But yeah, that's probably the rituals that I had. Alfie Langer was he'd always throw up before a game. He'd always
Yes.
managed to throw up. I remember debuting for the Broncos, and Elf was sitting there. There was a chair right next to Elf, and I was like, "Oh well, geez, I'm going to go over there and sit with Alfie Langer." How good's this? But that chair was always vacant for a reason, because all the old players that played with him knew that before he ran on, he'd grab the bin and spew in the bin before the game. So, and that was good for us, because Wayne used to always say that if Elf didn't spew before a game, it didn't mean it meant that he didn't want to play. So, when you got Alfie Langer throwing up, you knew that he was switched on, because he was nervous and he was ready to go.
Yeah, I've heard that one. We had Kevin Campion on recently, and he spoke about the same thing with Alfie. But mate, it's definitely good if Alfie was on. Now, the next question we got, you obviously, as you mentioned before, you played for 6 NRL clubs. Was there a favourite? Did one stick out above the rest?
Yeah, I mean, being a Queensland boy, born and bred,
Yeah.
playing for the Brisbane Broncos, it was a team that I followed when I was young. But actually, my first team that I followed was actually the Canberra Raiders. And then obviously my two older brothers were picked up by the Broncos to watch them play first grade. All I wanted to do is play first grade for the Broncos. And I had the opportunity to do it and played nearly 70 games there before I left. But I'd have to say the Broncos on the field, but definitely off the field. The Sydney Roosters was probably the funnest. Living in the eastern suburbs of Sydney,
Yeah.
it was party town, and we were pretty well known down there, so we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's actually my team, so I love that you mentioned that. That's beautiful.
Yep.
Mate, can you tell us some stories about some of the great characters that you've played alongside?
Oh, it depends if this is R-rated or not.
Oh, it is, mate. It's
Yeah,
fine.
no, I mean, I had, I think, when I was at the Sydney Roosters, there was five NRL boys that we all lived together. So Brett
Yeah.
Finch, Anthony Minicello, Mick Crocker, Todd Payton, and myself. If those walls in that house could talk, it would be a Hollywood blockbuster. It was called the House of Grouse, and we named it the House of Grouse. Kyle and Jackie O from the Today FM in Sydney, they used to ring us on a Monday morning to find out what shenanigans went on over the weekend, and we never disappointed with our story. So I'd have to say, living in the House of Grouse, 24 years of age, in the prime of our career, that house, we obviously knew all the owners and the managers and the security guards of all the bars and nightclubs and the
Yeah.
pubs around the eastern suburbs. So we all moved in together. We set a date for the housewarming party, and we had sneaky sound system.
Wow.
They were really big DJs back in that era. They were playing at our house party, and I think about maybe 600 people turned up, and
Jeez.
it's still that party and that house still gets mentioned today. So the folklore lives on, and it was certainly a very, very fun time in my career, and it was a time where I'll never forget. But there were some times when I used to drink too much that I did forget. So that's probably a good thing.
Mate, that's awesome. I love that story. Now, is there a favorite finals memory that sticks out for you?
Well, I'd have to say that least favourite is losing two grand finals for the Roosters in 03 and 04. So I'll skim past that. And yeah, I think that, playing in any semi-final or any finals appearance is a massive achievement. Some players go 10 years plus in the NRL and never get that experience. So,
Yeah.
I lost two grand finals, but at least I got to play in two. So I take a little bit of solace out of thinking like that. But yeah, I think that all semi-finals appearances in the NRL are something that you cherish, and I cherish all games that I play in the NRL. I can't really pinpoint one game that sticks out,
Mhm.
but yeah, they're all very good games.
Yeah. And then on the back of that, what was your favorite Origin memory?
Day born for Queensland,
Yeah.
2001. In 2000, we'd just been beaten by New South Wales. They were throwing hand grenades and carrying on, and I think they beat us by 50 points in the last game. And Wayne came in and cleaned out a lot of the old players, and I think we had about 9 debutants that night. And we pulled their pants down. It was the last game before the old Lang Park was torn down, and it's the stadium that we see now. So I think that game one, 2001, my debut game was epic. I got to score a try. I should have had two, but one got called back, but I didn't think it was forward pass. But yeah, I think those memories, that's 23 years on now. So, and honestly, it feels like yesterday. I was 21 years of age and
Yeah.
had the world at my feet.
Yeah, no, of course, mate. Mate, you're part of the famous Walkers On call. Do you still get people mentioning it?
Every day, every single day of my life, and that was 23 years ago. And
Yeah.
I still get that. I get it every single day that
Yeah.
I
Wow.
leave the house. If I ever leave the house and go into a crowd or a shopping centre, I'll always have someone yell out "Walkers On." When I go to a footy game, I reckon I hear it probably 200 times, 300 times, which is pretty cool, because obviously New South Wales saw me as a bit of a threat, and
Yeah. Yeah.
they had to do their homework on me. So I take that as a bit of a badge of honour. But I get it all the time, and it's pretty cool to hear sometimes,
What
especially with
what
my kids around.
what do you think was the fascination with it? Why did that come about, and why did people keep saying it?
Well, obviously, we do homework on players that you got to
Yeah.
watch every game, whether it's an Origin grand final or a normal round game for the NRL. You always see players that you got to watch that have a little bit of talent or a little bit of danger with the way that they attack. So I think that Gus Gould at the time must have done a bit of homework on me, because he saw me as a threat, and maybe all week they'd train that when I come on, they got to watch me because I could score tries from any part of the field, and
Yeah.
I can't remember hearing it on the field, but when Nathan Brown was mic'd up and I was on the footy show, it certainly gained a lot of legs, and it's gained a shitload of legs since.
Yeah, yeah, it did. That's where I remember it from, and an absolute classic there, mate. Obviously, you played a long time in the NRL, 14, 15 years, as you said before. Are you a rugby league fan still today?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when I did retire in 2011, I didn't watch a game for probably 3 years. I just had enough, and
Yeah.
I knew that the time was up and the time was on the writing on the wall that I didn't want to play anymore because when I did retire, I didn't watch a game.
Mm,
Now I'm glued to every single game. I watch every game on the weekend whenever I can. I love my Sunday games, and sitting on the couch and you sit back before the week starts and you have a bit of time to reflect and a bit of time to yourself to relax. And there's nothing better than watching a really good game of football on a Sunday afternoon or two games of football. And obviously, my little nephew Sam is doing some great things at the moment in
he
his
is.
third season. He had a bit of a rough trot during the year, but I mean that's
Yeah.
all a part of his journey. And he came back and he proved to everyone that just give him the ball and let him play what's in front of him. And they went on a bit of a run, the Roosters, at the back end of that season on the back of what Sam did. And if it wasn't for Cam Munster's brilliance, in that semi-final and to put
Mm,
it across and for Melbourne to score with 30 seconds to go, anything could have been possible. But I'm really looking forward to watching his development again this year and cheering him on from the sidelines.
yeah, mate. It was heartbreaking, that Melbourne game. I was riding us home. We almost got there. As you mentioned though, yeah, Semi, that game he came back against maybe the Dolphins, I think it was finals, and
Uh,
or was it a few games
No, it was
before that?
no a few games before that. It was West Tigers, Dolphins,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then went into the Sharks, and then
Yeah,
obviously
that's
Melbourne.
it. But he looked like he had so much time. The way he was throwing the ball and those cutout passes he does, just absolute brilliant, brilliant passing. So he looked like he had so much time, which is great to see for a young half. But mate, do you support a team these days?
Yeah, I mean, I played for a number of teams, so I've got a lot to support. But
Yeah,
the Queensland teams, I like the Broncos, I like Titans.
yeah,
Obviously, first try scorer for the Titans back in 07, so that's a bit of a soft spot for me as well. But I mean, I'm sticking with my blood here at the moment, and I
yeah.
go for the Roosters, obviously on the back of Sam. So, but whenever the Titans are playing, I'm barracking for the Titans. Whenever the Broncos are playing, I'm barracking for them. So, and when they play each other, I sit on the fence. So I don't really care who wins or loses. But my team at the moment is obviously I have an allegiance with Sam, and
Yeah.
wherever he goes, that team, whether he went to the Warriors or whether he went to the Cowboys or whatever it is, I'd probably barrack for that team. But I've got a soft spot for all the teams I played for because I really did. I had really good memories at all of those teams. So, but yeah, I got to go for the Roosters.
Love it, mate. Love it. Mate, you spoke a bit about retirement just before, but how is life after the game? Are you enjoying it?
And I'm loving it. I've got a vodka company, so that's
Yes.
our distillery in the background. I'm obviously
Lovely.
wearing the Ariane shirt, repping what I'm doing. But yeah, I've started a vodka company, which is pretty weird because my whole football career I had a problem with the alcohol.
Yeah.
But I haven't had a drink for 14 months.
Wow.
So yeah, my shift is obviously focusing on this business and getting it going, and that's exactly what I'm doing. And I'm having a hell of a lot of fun reconnecting with a lot of guys who own multiple pubs that looked after me when I'm playing. And I'm very grateful for them to give me an opportunity to sell my product and showcase my product in all their venues.
Yeah, beautiful. Give it a plug if you want, mate. Where can people find it?
Mate, any in Queensland, any celebrations, Thirsty Camel, Bottle Mart,
Yeah.
all your independents. We aren't, and New South Wales, we're in about 3,000 venues nationally at the moment. So
Great.
growth's been really good, and that's just on the back of a lot of support. And obviously, our product is a premium. We've just released our RTV cans, so that's our ready to drink. So your premix cans. So those have been walking off the shelf, and we've been getting some really good feedback. We're due to start our tap house here at the moment, so that should open in the next month. And when that does, yeah, things will start to really take off. But yeah, we're really enjoying the process with Ariane Vodka. We are called Sunny Days Distillery,
Yep.
and then Ariane Premium Vodka, Pink Dot First Pour Vodka. So Ariane Vodka retails for around $70 to $80. It is a
Beautiful.
premium. It's a very, very smooth vodka. And then Pink Dot is our entry level vodka, roughly around $45 a bottle. Then we've got our RTDs that really starting to take off, which is good.
Yeah, lovely. Well, that's awesome. Well, just so our listeners, if they want to check it out, they can there. And mate, are you still involved in the game at all in a coaching capacity or anything like that?
I was doing a lot of commentary for Channel 9 and ABC Grandstand and Triple M, but obviously with work commitments, I can't compete or can't get in there and do what I need to do. But I coached my young fellas under 13s team last year.
That's
they moved
nice.
into down to 14. So we start training in a couple of weeks, and it's a really rewarding thing to do. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah, lovely. And before we finish off, I'd love to get a prediction from you for 2024. Can you give us a team that finished in the bottom 8 of 2023 that you think may improve in 24?
I think the Dolphins, they've bought well. So
Yep.
I think that they, and on the back of the great Wayne Bennett, I think that they had a breakout season this year. They've got to back it up. A lot of players didn't get a chance last year. I think that, I think that Wayne will have them going good.
Yeah, awesome. Love to hear that. Well, it's all we got time for on this interview today. I just want to thank you for your time, Chris. And if you are listening, don't forget, you can follow us wherever you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music. Check us out on all our social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, LinkedIn, Threads as well, wherever you want to listen, wherever you want to look. And this is sponsored by leaguelids.com. Check League Lids out. They have some awesome corduroy hats going at the moment. Out of stock currently, but restocking very soon. Use the code RUCK10. You'll get 10% off. And that is all we have time for. Thanks again, Chris. See you, everyone.
No worries. Thank you.